it was very carrot and stick. It's like, here's what you can get, just do the work and you get this. And it was money. That was it. It was money. And there's nothing to do with that. It's what we do, it's what the game we're in, but there's so much more to that.
Welcome to the Growth Xperts Podcast. I'm your host, Derek Colin. Today's episode, we have Joe Morrison. He is the founder and CEO of Cheer at Work. How are you doing today, Joe?
Good. Thank you very much for having me as well. Yeah, really is a pleasure.
Awesome. So can you share a bit about your background and how it fits into the bigger picture over at Cheer at Work?
Yeah, so I've been in the talent space for 14 years, coming up to 14 years now. And I've done a bit of all of it. So I've been on the agency side, executive search, moved in-house after 5 or so years of doing that. Worked typically in smaller organizations where they're looking into growth, or either a startup or in their period of growth. Then I was a head of people for setting up Cheer. So Cheer is a campaign for happiness, employee engagement and results at work. But I'm going full circle. I'm back speaking to recruitment agencies, executive search firms, and working to support retention and help them with growth too.
Oh, that's good. So what does a typical day look like for you at the job?
A typical day, I don't think that exists, but I'll try. No, I'll answer, because it's where I spend most of my time, or where I see the impact that I make to business is typically on employee value proposition and delivering that through workshops and consulting. It could be that business just needs a bit more energy, needs someone to come in from an outside perspective to just give some positivity to their reps and give them some perspective that they might not have, through to actually going in, doing a full audit on what's making an impact to these employees. So taking a list of what a company offers, what their unique value proposition is in the market, understanding what's important to employees, but also how well you're delivering as a business for these employees. Particularly in the agency or executive search world, where turnover is higher than most markets. Like turnover, I saw a stat the other day, like where retention is on average 15 to 20%. In executive search or agencies, it goes like doubles or can sometimes even triple that, particularly in that first 18-month period. So typically what I'm doing is trying to stop that happening, right? It's having those conversations, understanding what's important to people, and in turn, they deliver more.
Yeah.
That can be to 20% better revenues, reduction in turnover of staff, or it could be just saving money on benefits that employees don't need or don't value, and investing more money and more time in things that do matter. So yeah, and that's not a typical day, but that's typically what I'm doing.
Yeah. So you look at like behavioral attributes, and I assume you're talking about on the candidate side when you're placing them into the firms that you represent.
Yeah, or more through the candidate journey. So I'm working to support a business at the moment doing more of their in-house recruitment as well. But it will be anything from when a candidate first hears about your business, the employer brand, what that looks like, EVP in terms of why someone would join your organization, through to when they've joined, how do you keep hold of talent? Like how do you nurture talent? How do you get the most out of them? And again, typically my clients are more executive search firms than me doing the recruitment myself. Like I'll still do that because it pays the bills, right? But actually the real impact, the real value comes in getting maximizing what teams are getting, what managers are getting from their teams, teaching them how to make that impact, how to make a difference.
Oh, that's good. So you can work with the candidate and the like hiring manager on how they can be more effective in communication or relationships or the environment that they're in and their job and what that entails, so that they can have a more cohesive work-life balance, if you will. Or
yeah, and whatever that looks like. So what that means to a company, what, like using work-life balance as an example, is like, what does that actually mean in an organization? Because for some companies that just doesn't exist, and then they try to pretend it does, or try to paint the picture it does, where the reality is it's not a thing. It's like do or die mentality, 12-hour days, 15-hour days. It's not a consideration, and personally that's not what I'm into. But there are people out there who want that environment and are laser focused on, okay, I'll work 15 hours because it's going to make the difference in the zero at the end of my paycheck. It's like, but it's understanding what that mindset is of an employer, what the employee wants from work, and how you can get the most out of them. Whereas before, like, and my experience of working in executive search is it was very carrot and stick. It's like, here's what you can get, just do the work and you get this. and it was
Yeah.
money. That was it. It was money, and there's nothing to do with that. It's what we do. It's what we're the game we're in, but.
Yeah.
There's so much more to that. So yeah, I understand where the mindset is of the individual and if they should be in that organization or not. The harsh reality is there's a lot of people who shouldn't be in that environment. They don't have the mindset, and they might be able to learn it and they might be able to develop it, but they don't want to. And it's like, it's understanding, okay, are they in the right environment? Should they be in this environment? And that works for executive search and ensure you're retaining talent, but it also works when you're going out to your clients and working more as a partner than a supplier.
Yeah. That makes sense.
And that to me, I'm sure we'll cover this, but that to me is the most important thing, and the differentiator for executive search is being a partner, not a supplier.
Yeah, definitely.
You may or may not be surprised about how many people businesses don't think like that. They're subservient to their clients. They do whatever they are asked, and it devalues what they offer when they should be having strategic conversations and making decisions with them, shaping their business, helping them say no to candidates, not trying to push the wrong ones, like helping them find where they're right or wrong. That's the difference. It's the partner relationship, which to me I've seen the difference in the agencies that kick on versus the ones that don't.
Yeah, being a strategic partner and making sure that you place the right candidates is definitely valuable. It's building that relationship. It goes beyond, transactional. And so in that case, have you ever, worked in terms of working with executive search on, C-suite retained, a higher level, like M&A or private equity? Have you ever had any cases where you made placements with firms that had a merger or something like that?
Yeah, more like less from a search firm, more from in-house. So I worked with a company where they're going through a PE cycle, and some acquisitions they made during that time as well. So more from the in-house perspective. And where they got it right was where I got it right as a recruiter is it wasn't just here's a job spec, here's what we're looking for, here's the behaviors that we look for in a candidate. It was, okay, what does it mean? What's the purpose of having this person in this role? What impact does that have to the organization?
Yeah.
What impact does it have to you, the manager, to have this person in place? What stress does it take off your shoulders? What do they deliver from a KPI standpoint, as in, grow revenue by 10%, whatever it might be. But it's like, okay, what impact does that have? Who does it affect? So much more than that to understand, okay, these are the right people for the organization. These are the ones that are going to make impact. These are the ones that are going to stay in the organization. And that's two-way. So the other side of that is like, well, we expect the world, what are we offering? If we're expecting someone to deliver, again, use that example, 10% revenue growth, well, what are we offering in return? What does this person expect in return from that? And it could be recognition, it could be environment, physical, or whatever it might be. It could be the well-being initiatives. Yes, it's going to be a return investment from a revenue perspective, but it's those things that the assumption is always it's the money they want and nothing else. The hire is made, you think, all right, that's good. I found the right person. They got the ideal profile. They've got experience doing this. And then they leave after 6 months and you go, well, what happened there? But the mindset hasn't been decided. For the return of investment from the candidate perspective, none of that is covered. So my experience, again, appreciate in-house, and like there's nowhere to hide. I have to hire these roles. I can't pass it on to somebody else or ignore that position. My position to hire was the difference. But I sure as hell made that those people were going to be people who'd stay within the next 6 months, 12 months, not to make sure there was no salary compensation drop off or anything like that. This was because it didn't. Then we're doing all this over again, and I'm not hiding.
Yeah.
So that's my experience. To me, that the difference I'd say is you look more into that than maybe a junior person, or if you're a 1,000-person company where it could be more project type work, and it's less important but still important. And to me, the search is the same to me. I've always looked at if you're hiring a MD, SLT member, vice president, whatever, versus your intern, you should be looking at a certain trait of an organization or how an organization thinks about hiring.
Definitely. Yeah. So it's good that you have that in mind in terms of, retention and turnover, making sure that, they don't just cut and run after 6 months, and making sure that it's the right hire and the right placement for that firm, because then it impacts you too. I've learned in executive search when there's companies that would offer 90 days, guarantee. And if they, didn't work out, then we would restaff for them, and then it cost us money and it impacted our bottom line. And I hate that model where companies will say, oh, okay, well, we'll do this placement for you in, 30 days or 60 days or 90 days. We'll replace that candidate if it doesn't work out. And then, you know, yeah, we may have gotten our first fee, but then we got to work and spend, hours and due diligence on, staffing another member for that firm. And, that's just time wasted, you know what I mean? So why not just impact in the beginning?
Oh, that's it. And that's my point where I was getting at with the level of understanding of what is needed beyond the KPIs, beyond the normal mindset questions we might ask, because that's going back to recruitment basics. That's going into like you get a solid intake and you're going to make the right hire. Plus, not only are you going to save that time that you risk wasting if they leave, you're saving time in your search. You're getting that right so much faster, and you're eliminating candidates as much as you're getting the right ones. You've got a better relationship with the client, so you can do more with them, and you can ask those extra questions throughout, or be that because they know you've been like that from the beginning. There's no silver bullet. There's no magic sauce, like secret formula or magic sauce or whatever you call it. It's the real basics. When I've hired teams, when I've been doing recruitment myself, whether it's agency or in-house, it's always been about world-class basics. Getting the things right that you kind of take for granted, but being the best at them. I can tell you a story about a book that some people might have read who watch this podcast. Have you heard a book called Unreasonable Hospitality?
If I think I looked up the audio and I listened to the demo version on Audible.
Yeah, so it's essentially 11 Madison Park, I think I've got that name right, in New York. They became the 50th best restaurant in the world. So they just creeped onto this list of 50 great restaurants. They wanted to be number one. They were like, okay, how are we going to get to number one? They couldn't do the best food. They didn't have the best chef in the world to guarantee they get the best food. But then they looked at their hospitality and coined the phrase unreasonable hospitality, because they looked at every little detail of what they do to become number one in the world. So instead of everyone has a wine sommelier in a restaurant, they got a beer sommelier. I don't know what you call that person. They had the finest coffee. So if someone wanted a coffee, it's not just instant decaf or instant whatever it is. It's the best coffee you can get because you're in a Michelin star, best in the restaurant. Every little detail like that, they did the best. Taking that to recruitment is exactly the same. Like throughout that whole process, it's like you can do so much more than any other agency is doing by looking at that small detail. Like any other search firm will do all of the basics, but how are you doing them miles better than everyone else?
Yeah.
And that's what I always say.
Details.
The devil's in there, and I know it's the cliche saying, but the devil's in the detail. It's the okay, what's your SLA time? What's your turnaround time for getting a candidate? Okay, how can you do it quicker? Or actually, instead of how you can do it quicker, what's the experience that candidate gets? Because if they're SLT, VP level, whatever they may, SVP, whatever level they might be, that experience is going to go to market. They're going to be talking to people they know, their network. They're going to be saying, I wish I get that job, because I've spoken to the search firm and they've told me the detail they've told me, the time they've spent, the hand holding they've done, the arm around the shoulder, whatever it been. Not every search firm is doing that. Yeah. Search firms are going, either at the highest level, they're going, here's the job description, do you want to be put forward for this? And that could be an email. Like they're automating that stuff that it makes us human.
Yeah.
So again, going back to partners, it's partnering with the candidate as much as it is with the employee.
Yeah. And that model where they're just looking to fill positions fast and make money, that's old and outdated now. It's antiquated, especially in the landscape that we find ourselves in with new technology, AI. And so what major shifts are you seeing in your industry right now?
Yeah, and I'll do a bit more from the in-house side, because I think it's good for search firms to hear that. Maybe I don't know if it's relevant to your audience, but I'm seeing, for good or for bad, AI is the main topic of conversation. We all know that, right? No one's pretending otherwise. There's a point where in a people perspective, in a talent perspective, people will start to crave that human interaction again. So some of the things we're automating, it will seem like a good idea to automate, but then we'll go, hang on a minute, we're missing on that relationship build part. We're missing on the human touch that separates us from AI. So don't get me wrong, people will lose their jobs and there's certain things that we won't have to do again. But the trends I'm seeing is that at the moment, all of recruitment is being looked at in every area, and everyone's coming to you with the next automation or the next AI agent that's going to revolutionize what you do. And again, talk about that devil of detail. It's looking at every layer, even the things that we should be doing as humans, because we are better at relationship building than AI. Now that might change. AI might get better than that, but at the moment we are better at that.
Yeah.
But I see that happen. I think for the next couple of years, I think that will carry on. But there will be a switch. I don't think it'll be overnight, but there'll be a switch where employers, leaders, they're going to want to speak to search firms more than they ever did, because they're going to miss that human interaction, that understanding.
And we're
Yeah.
we're in the people business. I mean, you can teach AI certain levels of emotion or empathy and how to respond compassionately, but once it's programmed to do that, it's kind of missing the fundamentals in terms of like the human soul, if you will, the intuition, the gut feeling. If we go off our gut, what if, that's what makes humans so great. We're unpredictable. So because you never know, should I turn left, should I turn right? And analytical thinking with AI, and they say this is the best choice to turn right, but the human may turn left and dodge that bullet. You know what I mean? Yeah.
There's little things that you could do, like it's from a candidate perspective as well. I remember this is like lower level hiring that I was doing from way back, but I still remember it to this day. We asked candidates to apply to a role, do something different. Like we review 1,000 CVs, tell us why you'll do something different. And they sent a chocolate bar with their CV, and the nutritional information was their background information. This was a design role, so even better. It was like, right. Plus, like what? Like I would still remember that to this day. Like, yeah, look, AI might suggest that you could do that, right? It might give you an option that you can do that, and that great, you can leverage that. But that's the thing that you're like, oh, that's like that stays with you, right? It's those magic moments. I call them like golden moments, or when you can call them whatever you want, but those things that just set you apart. Again, from a search perspective, what sets you apart in the market? What's that small detail that sets you apart? As a candidate, who are the candidates you remember that stand out? AI doesn't tell you that from a CV. But the hour or the coffee you have with them tells you that, like the stuff that you just don't get. But there'll be more like that. I think that will go away a bit because people try to automate as much as they can, but then it will come. I think it will just come back. That's my prediction.
Yeah. I mean,
interesting. Watch this back in 2 years' time.
Yeah. I mean, using AI in terms of, automation from an administrative level to enhance your position so that you have, on the back end, you can save more time in terms of time management to, automate certain things, but you have that oversight, from the human perspective to where you can, edit and review, those automations and make your life a lot easier. It has its use case, right? And then it has its use case for business development and among other things. But in the people business, yeah, it definitely needs oversight for sure. So, how has this trend, impacted your business or growth strategy in a good way, a negative way in terms of technology?
Yeah, so from the perspective of what I've been doing, like it's given me such a leg up. Like it's given me marketing support, admin support, an office manager. I'm not in an office, but when with my thing, I do it from home. But like it's given me all of those things that I would have had to wait to invest in with, or have the startup capital of that level to be able to do the marketing budget. From an outreach perspective, getting in front of clients and having conversations with clients has been made so much quicker. So the impact has been incredible in that regard. But again, what I do is about there's a fine line for it, because what I'm doing is the counter to it as well. So like, I'm not against AI, I'm not against what it's doing, but my role is very much, it requires my time and energy and what I do. Having said that, like to scale, when I'm at earlier stages, so I'm not like 15 years in with 100 employees, it's me at the moment. There's a point where I'm going, okay, what's the thing that doesn't require my time and energy that I can offer to a market? That's when it's like, okay, online training courses or build a survey, those kind of things come into play. Now, previously that would be hire a software developer or team that can do that. Now it's like, well, I can play around with an agent and get a prototype ready in a few hours. Like so the impact has been huge in terms of scaling a business from zero to where I am today.
Awesome. Yeah. So what's working well right now, and what's been frustrating?
The frustration has been the conversations not on the hot topic as I would like it to be. Going back to my point about AI, the frustration is like AI is the kind of all that people want to know. Whether I'm hiring or what, it's like what's the AI version of this is the slight frustration. But again, I think, like I said before, it brings an opportunity that I'm taking a bit of a punt on, but I see that it coming through, that it becomes more need and desire for human connection. And what's going well is seeing the impact of what I'm doing on results. ultimately the typical clients I'm working with, executive search firms, other agencies. I've done some work with internal teams, like I did some work with Indeed the other week. It's all well and good saying you can improve happiness at work, improve employee engagement, but ultimately it's a results business that I'm supporting. So whether that's revenue, reduction in turnover, or maybe the more anecdotal stuff where they're saying this made an impact to me and my productivity has gone up, we've saved money on our benefits. Those are the things that I can see. That's when I know it's making a difference. Because employee engagement used to be a thing that people didn't track because they couldn't really measure employee engagement, or you couldn't really measure happiness. You could ask people questions, but you can't physically see it. Where it's like, well, you see it in the results. So you can look at before and after time. I know there's other factors that affect these things, but you can see the difference. And for people in a more business development type role rather than even account management as well, but you can see, well, productivity grew by at least 10% for all the people that I spoke to from this workshop. It's like, that shows that it's doing something. Plus, people are more likely to stay in the organization. Now, what I haven't seen is longer term, like, are they staying there as the tenure going up on a business? Because I've not been there long enough to see like average tenure rates improve, but I'm positive with what's happening. It's like the difference in making people are understanding their place in the business. They know their purpose. They know what they want from work. That will change.
Yeah. So from a consultancy perspective or a coaching perspective, can you explain what it is, you do working with executive search firms or being embedded into a company in-house? Can you kind of elaborate? And then also, what would you want people to know who would hire Cheer at work?
Yeah, understood. I'll try and simplify it because it does vary for business and needs. But the first part is much like you would do an intake meeting for a role to understand hiring needs, etc. I do that from a business perspective. So start with a free consultation with relevant leaders to understand, okay, where are you at in terms of happiness, engagement, what impact it's having. Nobody has said it yet. Nobody has said everything's perfect, everybody's happy in my team, everybody's firing, everyone's hitting their targets 100%. Nobody said that yet. I thought people might lie and say, no, everything's good, I don't need it. But like, there's usually something that needs to improve. Then in terms of how I support in improving that, it can be as simple as a half an hour Zoom or team style workshop where it's around a certain topic that we agree that would make an impact. So it could be motivation, it could be goals, it could be inspiration, it could be grit, determination, hard work. I typically try and connect it with a measurable, something you can measure an outcome of. But it could be right then through to like EVP sessions and consultancy. So employee value proposition, it's understanding the balance of reward and benefits for the work that employees put in. That's more of a deep dive. That's understanding everything you offer, your value proposition as a business to candidates, and then speaking with employees, understanding what's important to them and how well the business is delivering. Think of it like an employee engagement survey, but it's not anonymous. You're in front of people, you're speaking to people, having a conversation, opening that communication that may or may not be there from an outsider perspective to go, okay, here's why your people are going to leave. Here's why your people stay. Here's why your top performers perform in the way they perform. Here's your kind of people you should look for to join your organization. Dark side of it, if you like, is here are the people you shouldn't be in your organization because and these are the reasons why they're probably going to leave. Now, I've run this with one business and we predicted the next 7 people to leave the organization. Like 7 people I thought were going to leave. Those 7 people were the next 7 people to leave. We knew exactly why they were leaving. Now, the problem with that one, that sounds like a great result to understand. The problem is if they left. We didn't do anything about it. We didn't address the challenges, but like it was a lesson to that company because it was like, okay, now we know this works. Now we need to do things to change and make. But that's what I do. I support businesses with that, whether it's as a consultant or the lighter touches like the workshops. And I've mentioned this. It's in production, but like a employee engagement training course, which is something that people can do. Think like LinkedIn learning style videos, additional content, ideas, exercises they can do themselves if they don't want me in there or they don't need me in there at that point. Yes. More inspiration to think about the impact of employee engagement. That's what I do. And beyond that, for free, I'll do things like blogs, webinars, podcasts, anywhere I can talk about the impact of employee engagement. The workforce in the UK, it's 90% of the workforce are disengaged, just simply from a humanity level. that shouldn't be on. I think it's about 80% globally are disengaged. So imagine if you've got a company that's performing really well and you've got 80% of your employees going in the wrong direction. Imagine what you could do if you could just get people going in the same direction, or get people off who shouldn't be there. Even if you're doing really well, imagine how much better you can be as a business. So I shout about that. I talk about it wherever I can, spread the word of that. That's my giving back piece. Yeah.
That's good. Yeah. Identifying the bottlenecks and helping with a solution to make
It's not complicated. Your spot, it's not, and it's not complicated. Sometimes it's as simple as having conversations, sometimes difficult ones, but having conversations that haven't been had before. It not always can be as simple as that. Yeah. And it has a huge impact.
Yeah. You got to have those difficult conversations in order to weed it out.
And get comfortable with that. Get those uncomfortable conversations. Like the more you have them, the easier it becomes. Netflix I don't know what they're like now, but they were famous for being the place where feedback, criticism, it was like it's a normal thing in the organization, but the impact was huge. They didn't do too bad.
Where do you want Cheer at Work to be in 6 months, 12 months, or longer down the road?
Right now, I want to work with more businesses. So I've got a longer term goal of positively impacting 100,000 people at work. I'm in the hundreds rather than the thousands. So I'm in that stage where it goes like this, and then one day it will skyrocket.
So yeah, you're in the dip and you're waiting there.
No, exactly. I'm riding through, but I feel I can see a shift even these last few months of businesses understanding, well, actually, we can't go on with disengaged workforces. We need to make a difference because it's impacting our results. It's impacting our bottom line. 6 months ago, even, I don't think businesses could see the correlation between that and the bottom line. So yeah, in answer to your question, next 6-12 months is to turn that into thousands. So if I can I'd love to get to 5,000 people positively impacted by the end of the year. And like behind the scenes, like the revenue that generates and the impact that has, and sufficient for me. No, it's for me. Then 3 to 5 years, it's a training course. It's I'm releasing a book. I'm writing a book on EVP as well.
Oh, cool.
Spreading the word about the impact of that. Doing a lot more speaking gigs with like people who are struggling to get onto the career ladder, doing things at that end as well. CV workshops, things like that as well, like resume workshops to make a difference. So more of that in the next 6 to 12 months as well. And in a new child coming along as well. So I'm expecting my son. Congratulations. Thank you. Busy time.
You know what gender it is?
Not yet. No, it's too early. So we're by the time this is out, we might know. But yeah, it's around that sort of time we find out.
Well, congratulations.
Thank you. Yeah. Busy time, but like I always say in recruitment, if it's busy, it's a good thing, right? We can't complain. It's busy.
Yeah, it's a good problem to have.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Well, Joe Morrison, ladies and gentlemen, founder of Cheer at Work. If you want to check him out, he's actually on LinkedIn, so you can look him up on his profile and go to his website, cheeratwork.com. Thank you so much, Joe.
Thanks, Derek. It's been a pleasure. Thank you.
Thank you.